right, very good. Is my daughter with you?
We tried your cell phone, but...
One second, the man was still telling his wife how beautiful she was. The next, they were torn apart forever. When he woke up the next day, his father-in-law told him with bloodshot eyes that his wife had passed away unexpectedly. Upon hearing the news, Mike didn't break down crying. Instead, he acted strangely calm. He stared calmly at the bed where his wife had been treated. He calmly wiped the blood off his shoes. He even felt calm enough to buy something to fill his stomach. But the chocolate got stuck in the vending machine. Mike didn't get angry because of it. He just calmly jotted down the contact info. Then he headed back home. However, a note on the fridge reminded him that his wife was gone. He ate his meal in silence. At the funeral the next day, friends and family were all in tears. They held each other up and comforted one another, but he felt like an outsider. To make himself look normal, he went to the bathroom, desperately trying to squeeze out a few tears, but nothing came out after trying for ages. He started wondering if he'd ever really loved his wife. Back in the room, he picked up the pen on the table, planning to write a letter to the vending machine company. He recounted every single detail of that day. He also wrote about why he'd ended up in the hospital. Before he knew it, Mike began writing about their old life together, about his beloved wife. Maybe he'd found an outlet for his emotions. All those memories of his wife came flooding out through his pen. This was no longer a letter asking for a refund. It was the deep love Mike never got to express. Yet he showed up at work the very next day, greeting people like nothing had happened. He didn't care about his colleagues' shocked looks. His secretary came in and told him not to push himself too hard. Mike kept right on assigning work. His father-in-law heard about it and rushed to the office, inviting Mike out for a drink. Their daughter's death hit everyone hard, but those left behind still had to keep going. He didn't want Mike to bottle up his feelings, said it would make him sick. Unexpectedly, Mike suddenly said that he didn't love his wife. He didn't know why the whole world thought he needed to be heartbroken. He stopped talking to his family, so much so that on the subway, Mike found himself talking aimlessly to a stranger sitting next to him, telling the man about his life. The guy looked totally confused, but Mike suddenly got serious. "I didn't love my wife." The man was confused. He asked Mike what that felt like, but Mike suddenly stood up and pulled the emergency brake. When the police asked him questions, he had no idea why he'd done it, couldn't say a word to explain. The cops found out his wife had just died, so they took pity on him and let him go. For years, his life was like that subway train, going round and round, never stopping. Now he'd finally hit pause on his life. As for what to do next, he had no clue. Mike turned down his parents' offer to live with them. After seeing them off, he lingered at the airport, watching the endless stream of people. A wild thought popped into his head. He wanted to check everyone's bags to see what was inside. He even imagined snatching a cop's gun. Mike was ready to let himself go completely, but every time his alarm went off, he still had to go back to his boring routine. His wife's presence felt like it was still around. Slowly, he started noticing little things he'd ignored before. The long strands of hair left on his comb. One day, Mike rummaged through the whole house, finding the repair tools his wife had asked him countless times to fix the leaky fridge. This time, he wanted to do what she'd asked. He took the fridge completely apart, but couldn't put it back together at all. Looking at the mess all over the floor, Mike felt a long-lost sense of relief. That real feeling made him addicted to taking things apart. First it was the office computer, then the bathroom door, even his wife's favorite coffee maker. He'd lay out all the parts neatly on the floor, but ordinary destruction no longer filled the void inside him. He drove to a demolition site, begging them to let him work as a laborer for a day. When they hesitated, Mike even pulled out a stack of cash. His word request made the workers think he worked harder than anyone else. The workers called him an idiot behind his back, but he just kept going harder. He didn't actually want the job. He was trying to use destruction to let out all his numbness and pent-up pain. But after that brief release, deeper confusion completely overwhelmed him. The next day, he went back to the site and paid to keep demolishing. But that day, he He stepped on a nail by accident. Even though Mike was in excruciating pain, he felt strangely relieved. It was the first time since his wife died that he felt truly alive. From then on, Mike developed a strange condition. He often got lost in illusions and couldn't snap out of them. His wife's fake figure in the mirror. He kept spotting a familiar silhouette in crowds everywhere he went, and those seashells he'd never cared about were his wife's favorite things in life. Some sorries and I love yous are destined to never be said between the living. A sudden wave of sadness hit him. Mike finally felt something in his heart. Memories came flooding back, slamming against his heart. If he didn't see a doctor soon, he was afraid he'd die before long. He told the doctor about his state. In his fantasies, he saw that half his heart was missing, but the doctor dismissed his delusions, said there was nothing wrong with his body. When Mike got home, he overheard rock music coming from his neighbor's house. He wanted to ask what song it was, because the rhythm made his numb body feel a spark of life. But when he went upstairs, he found it was just a little kid. He didn't interrupt the boy, just turned around and left quietly. He thought kids had their own stories too. One afternoon, he noticed Bill was amazing at playing the drums. The upbeat drum beats had some kind of magic. His numb limbs moved against his will. When the heavy metal roar filled the air, he didn't realize that he was losing himself in it like a zombie. He fell in love with that crazy feeling. Mike seemed to find a new direction, extreme pain or pure joy. He could handle either. He danced as hard as he could, wandering through the streets and alleys. His weird behavior made his friends come over to check on him, but Mike always replied that he was fine. He marched into his father-in-law's office, looking unkempt like a homeless guy. It made his father-in-law fly off the handle. Ever since his daughter passed, Mike's behavior had gotten more and more outrageous. He argued that this was his way of mourning his wife. During their fight, his father-in-law said he wished Jack had died instead. Yeah, why wasn't it me who died? He'd asked himself that a million times. On countless sleepless nights, that familiar suffocating feeling washed over him again. But it didn't go back to the demolition site. Instead, he bought a bull downseer and drove it straight into his villa. The warm little home he'd shared with his wife turned to ruins in seconds. Every shard of broken glass looked like an empty eye. Mike crawled into the bedroom and swung a hammer at his wife's dresser. Suddenly, he saw an envelope in the drawer. It was his wife's pregnancy test from last year. He'd had no idea she was pregnant. At that moment, he just wanted to ask his in-laws for answers. The sun was blinding on the road. He pulled down the sun visor, and there was another note from his wife, but he had no mood to read it. When he rushed over, he blurted out, "Did you know she was pregnant?" His in-laws were holding a memorial for his wife. He confronted his mother-in-law in front of everyone. Seeing his mother-in-law's guilty look, Mike seemed to already know the answer. It wasn't until he was leaving that his mother-in-law told him the truth. Mike didn't know how to react. Should he be angry at the dead or feel like things were fair? His wife had been unfaithful, and he hadn't loved her either. Mike chose to avoid the question again. He went to his wife's grave alone. After all, they'd been married. He owed her a final goodbye. Just then, a stranger came to lay flowers too. He was sure this man was his wife's lover. "I just hope you really loved her. She deserved to be loved." Mike was calm to the point of being scary, but the man looked totally confused, having no idea what he was talking about. Then the man explained that he was the one who'd hit them that day. As he spoke, tears of regret streamed down his face. Mike hurried over to comfort him. There had never been a lover at all. His mother-in-law's words had just been a lie to help him move on. When Mike got back in the car, he picked up the note from his wife casually. It read, "If you can't see me on rainy days, then the sunshine will remind you of me." Mike thought back to all those little details he'd never noticed. There were notes from his wife everywhere. That was the love he'd had but never truly felt. It turned out he'd loved his wife all along. His grief had just come a little late. At that moment, he finally broke free from his numbness. Tears poured down his face. Those repressed emotions don't fade with time. They erupt when you least expect it. The cruelest thing is when everything's the same but the person is gone. What can't destroy you is rarely the grand passion of love, but the tiny, trivial details. Some people are good at taking care of plants, yet treat their loved ones like preserved specimens. Those canceled dates, the read receipts left unanswered when you say "I miss you," all become wounds that never heal. There really aren't that many tomorrows to wait for. Cherish what you have right now. May every tear you shed be tears of happiness.